Yesterday, in His Holiness's second stop, the compassionate view of Buddhism was not completed. Yesterday we first covered perfect conduct, and today we'll discuss perfect thought in Buddhism. The Buddha claimed that all sentient beings equally share the same aspiration to attain happiness and to be free from suffering. This is an uncommon teaching that other religions in this world are not able to preach. In our Buddhism, we believe that all sentient beings wish to attain happiness and avoid suffering. This is our view. Buddhism holds this belief, but many other religions do not think this way. So we can say that if we truly care about the aspirations of all sentient beings, this should be Buddhism's distinctive feature. Many other religions aim at benefiting most sentient beings, but inevitably bring harm to some other beings. For instance, they work for the well-being of humankind, while unfortunately depriving animals of their lives. In some religions, as everyone knows, animals can be treated as vegetables and consumed just like vegetables. They are only concerned with the benefit of a certain group and completely disregard others' bodies and lives. For the sake of their own religious followers, if someone doesn't take refuge or join them, they may launch holy wars to eliminate those of different faiths. Even to this day, religious wars continue to occur, so they benefit certain beings, but the bodies and lives of some other beings are not valued at all. But Buddhism is completely different from them. Buddhism aims to benefit all living beings. All is very important. Everyone should truly remember this. The Buddha said in the sutras, just like you would treat yourself, never harm others. This is very important in Buddhism. We often say, do not do to others what you don't want done to yourself. This view is somewhat similar. Of course, Confucius's view was only in terms of humanity. It didn't extend to animals at all. Don't give others what you yourself dislike, but here, by setting an example with yourself, don't harm any sentient beings. The difference is quite significant. Anything beneficial to you is also beneficial to others. This mainly refers to life. Anything harmful to you is also harmful to others. All living beings wish to be happy and wish to avoid suffering, and this mindset applies to everyone. So if you summarize the essence of Buddhism, it contains only the wish to bring benefit to all living beings. A person who is able to put themselves in another's position could not possibly dislike the path of Buddhism. The language here is very simple, but each point within it might require a long time to explain in order to reveal the profound meaning hidden within. I'll give you an example to illustrate this. If there are two companions, would you prefer the one who always helps you, or the one who often harms you? You have two people. One harms you every day and the other helps you every day. From the bottom of your heart, which one would you choose? I am sure that you will choose the person who is kind and helpful, but stay away from the malicious one. This statement is very important. I think such examples are not necessarily easy for ordinary people to come up with. It's truly like this. What is Buddhist thought? Do we prefer those who harm us or those who don't harm us? If they harm you, even if they're your parents, your siblings, your children, your family members, or your relatives, you probably can't bear it after a while because they harm you every day. Why would you like them? Many of us say, although he is my father, he torments me every day, which is very painful. Although this is my relative, I really have no choice because they keep harming me. But if it's beneficial, even though they're my enemy, they often help me. So gradually, I think this metaphor is very meaningful. Just like you, all beings prefer those that help them and try to keep their distance from those who harm them. Buddhism is a religious tradition that unfailingly aims to bring benefit to each and every sentient being. This point is absolutely correct. Buddhist doctrine is like this, but Buddhists may not necessarily be. Some Buddhists wave the banner of Buddhism and verbally claim to benefit all sentient beings, but in reality they intentionally or unintentionally harm many beings. There are many like this. But the doctrine of Buddhism, all the Tripitaka, all the treatises, the teachings of great masters, is there any method within them for intentionally harming beings? No, there really isn't. If you're able to analyze the Buddhist philosophy rationally and objectively, it is certain that you will come to love Buddhism because it benefits all. With this kind of thought, whether it's humanity, animals, or the entire inanimate world, such thought is still very much needed. If someone has this ideological background, or has been influenced by such thinking, we can't help but like them. Great masters who follow in the footsteps of the Buddha have the same goal in their activities. Generally speaking, there are masters of perfect qualities, of middling qualities, and of inferior qualities. How do you distinguish these three types of masters? The perfectly excellent masters can extensively benefit all beings and absolutely refrain from harming any of them. The middling ones can benefit beings while occasionally and unintentionally bringing harm to them. These are middling masters. Perhaps for Buddhism's benefit, whether out of ignorance or deliberately, they also harm many beings. These are called middling masters. The inferior ones are those who completely neglect the well-being of others and always inflict severe harm on them, considering only themselves. These are inferior or lower quality masters, are masters who follow the Buddha good or bad. The key criterion to recognize them is whether they are able to benefit sentient beings. This is also very important. We can often see that when some masters pass away, everyone feels very sad. I think when some masters pass away, no one cries. When some masters pass away, so many people shed tears. This can be imagined. The appearance of some masters truly changes the destinies of countless people. As for others, not only did they bring no benefit, but even their money was taken away. In the end, people hate them to the bone. So don't think that just because someone is called a master, they are perfect in every way. His Holiness's analysis here is very good. The Dharma is 100% excellent, but among those who receive the Dharma, including masters, there are different levels. Just like our 5 fingers are of different lengths, the same applies to your worldly lives. For instance, if someone in the US is intelligent, capable, and very kind-hearted, it is generally considered that this person will very likely make a beneficial impact on their community and even the country at large. On the contrary, if there is a person who has great ability but harbors hostility towards society or has a very bad and cruel heart that harms many people, then it is agreed that this person would be unable to bring much peace or harmony to the country. Therefore, it is unanimous that people from anywhere in the world, whether American or Tibetan, or people of various nationalities in every corner of the world, always prefer consideration and kindness rather than those bringing harm to others. This is evident to all. Indeed, we should also become someone, whether before our master or before other Dharma friends. Some people have a very bad reputation and no one can stand them. Some people are liked by everyone. In fact, it's truly related to one's own behavior. What's past is past. Let's not talk about it. Perhaps in the past it was due to ignorance, pride, and various other reasons. But in the future, we all hope to be liked by people above and below, to satisfy people above and below as much as possible. If you yourself are magnanimous and often help others, naturally people will be good to you. So we can see, whether it's someone like me, now most of my life has already passed, whether the past was good or not, it's probably just like this now. But many of you are young people. The future era belongs to everyone. So His Holiness's these teachings, think them over repeatedly. This time we're just going through it generally for everyone. If you truly want to digest it, perhaps reading it multiple times yourself afterward would be very good. So as mentioned before, the reason we made these books with better quality is that perhaps many of you will carry these 2 books for your whole life. There are roughly 4 types of people here. Many of you present here are already Buddhists, and you understand my points. I hope all of you can develop a deeper love for Buddhism and engage more diligently in Dharma practice. This is a requirement for Buddhists. Some of you who are followers of Christianity would also love the Buddhist philosophy of altruism. As we know, when being crucified, Jesus Christ, at the earliest time when Christianity was founded, when he was being punished in Jerusalem, underwent unimaginable suffering. At that time, from his own suffering, he extended his compassion to the suffering of other beings. He wished all beings to be free from suffering and attain happiness. Actually, in his earliest period, he truly had this. So in many of their different texts, they also have this. It's equivalent to our arousing bodhicitta. Carrying the pain and suffering of others and bestowing happiness upon them was the spirit of Jesus, which inspired numerous people to follow him, and that is what gave birth to the religion of Christianity. I believe his altruistic practice is the fundamental reason that Christianity has remained thriving in the world for so many centuries. Christianity is also a religion that aims for the benefit of many sentient beings. So this religion also accomplishes the benefit of sentient beings. Of course, later on there may have been various situations, but its doctrine still, including its current charity work, is done very well. The reason why so many people around the world like it is also because of this. Second, among those listening to the Dharma, for some of you who are non-believers, if you are curious and truly searching for what Buddhism advocates, I believe you will take delight in hearing the answer. The reason is obvious. If you want to be happy, then being helpful to others certainly makes you happy, just like in Buddhism. But if you hurt others, it is impossible for you to enjoy any happiness. For instance, to the degree of how you have helped your friends, you receive the same amount of joy and benefits as a reward. But if you hurt them either to their face or behind their back, you constantly harm your friends. Some of us are like this. Always selfish, thinking only of themselves, not considering others' feelings at all, not considering others' interests in any way, constantly having various behaviors and thoughts to cause harm. Then you would have no way to be truly joyful. Unless they are great bodhisattvas like Venerable Atisha, they might guide you temporarily. Other than that, people are all selfish. So if you, either to their face or behind their back, have already harmed your friends, there will be no opportunity for happiness. This is for those who have no faith, those who are selfish or hold liberal views and have no faith at all. Altruism is still very important for them. If everyone in the world does bad things, then your living space will become very narrow, and it won't bring you much happiness. There's another type of person who may have no faith at all, those who live in confusion, the fourth type. For others who just want to pursue worldly pleasures and security with food, clothes, and all necessities, it is also essential to follow the sublime path of Buddhism that is tranquil and harmless, and to joyfully practice the Dharma as much as possible. They have no other ideals. During Dharma assemblies, there's good food. Among Buddhists, there are good clothes and food, and anyway, you don't need to work here, and life is good. Actually, Buddhism doesn't harm other sentient beings, so within this community there are also many benefits. This is also very important because they receive benefits. Some of our Buddhists may truly be like this. They don't have any thought of benefiting beings, nor any thought of seeking liberation themselves, and they're not like those liberals who have no faith at all. They have a little bit of faith, and for such people Buddhism is also very important. I sincerely wish all of you present here, as well as all your friends, can truly practice this unique and peaceful path of not harming any sentient beings. His Holiness's final meaning is that he still hopes everyone will take a good look at Buddhism's path of peace. May you enjoy auspiciousness and happiness. Tashi Delek, His Holiness's teaching is now complete. We'll now read a bit more from the anecdotes at the end. This was His Holiness's first day's speech, very wonderful, now concluded. Everyone should read it well. Physical examination. On this trip abroad, aside from a few basic health issues, His Holiness felt quite well. Overall, things were fine, but still, since he had come to the US where advanced healthcare technologies were available, all of his disciples urged him to take this opportunity to have a thorough checkup. American disciples were also like this. When we left the academy, including Stuart Rabsang and others, they repeatedly urged us, saying that everything in the US is very good, and we must see if His Holiness's eyesight could be restored. When we were close to departure, they especially said His Holiness must have a thorough examination. So this time we put his physical examination on the schedule and made an appointment at the hospital in advance. On June 24th, we went to the University of Colorado Hospital. I went to the University of Colorado later in 2013 and gave some talks on Terma and some about Tibetan Buddhism and Larunga. There was a professor who said at that time, previously Khenpo came accompanying His Holiness, now he's come as a great master himself, saying this to me in a rather dissatisfied tone. I really wanted to respond to him, but I didn't. This hospital was founded in 1989, a few years before we went there. But among all hospitals in the US, among thousands of hospitals, it was one of the nation's top hospitals. It was especially renowned for vision diagnosis and treatment, as well as lung disease, cardiovascular disease, and rheumatism. These aspects were all quite good. In all of Denver, it was still famous. In terms of all of the US, it was also quite good. When we arrived there, we felt the hospital was not only very clean, but also very quiet. The entire medical staff seemed kind. We couldn't see on their faces what we see in some of our hospitals. I wrote in Tibetan that some doctors in some of our hospitals are particularly serious and impatient, constantly saying things that irritate the patients. Some have particularly bad attitudes. Come quickly, do you want to see a doctor or not? Come over here. Especially like that, just like the little nurse I mentioned before in Footprints on the Journey. They spoke in an affable manner, avoiding any unsuitable words that might annoy the patient. They followed an orderly way to do the examination, performing every step without haste. The nurse first did some regular tests with instruments and kept a record of the results very carefully. Then the doctor came for a detailed inquiry and continued with a few specialized instruments. When they needed His Holiness to follow their instructions, I felt their tone was particularly gentle. Now please look to the left, that's great. And now please look to the right, you did a good job. Thank you so very much, you cooperated very well this time. The whole process made us feel relaxed and pleasant, and left me with a lasting positive impression. Later, I myself also, I think in 2017 or something, had an examination at MIT's affiliated hospital, and it was also like that. But later I also thought they have relatively few patients, so with one person, 1 or 2 appointments per day, giving them a very good and detailed examination, they can also have patients. Like our West China hospital and Beijing hospital, seeing several people in just a few minutes. In that case, the hospital can't help but be annoyed. If I were a doctor, I might also be very annoyed. This is understandable. There are too many people, plus there are so many patients. Like an ant colony, densely packed, all lining up. Over there, for doctors, there really aren't that many patients, relatively few. On the same day, Annie Medron also had a physical checkup because of certain heart problems that caused her to be on regular medication. She also had some examinations done. His Holiness was very concerned about Annie Medron and insisted she be included. Initially she wasn't included, but later she was able to get examined too. As for the examination results, His Holiness's overall health condition was satisfactory, but unfortunately there was no effective method to restore his sight, which was probably due to the lack of merit on the part of sentient beings. They said this was very difficult and probably couldn't be restored. Originally we wanted to see doctors in Canada and France too, but later it seemed the schedule was quite tight, so we didn't. That's one section. We can do one more section for today. Next is Miss the Homeland. These little anecdotes, I'll just read through them. One afternoon, while His Holiness was resting in his room, we had a bit of free time. Annie Medron Lama Mumtso and I enjoyed leisure time on the grass outside the door. Later I could see from the photos it was on the grass over by the door. That place was very comfortable. The sun was shining and the sky blue, dotted with white clouds. Looking at the snow mountains in the distance, a familiar feeling made us think of our homeland. Although it was less than half a month since we had left the land of Tibet, we arrived in Hong Kong on June 15th, so about 10 days or so. Perhaps because this was our first time crossing the endless Pacific Ocean, when I went to the US later, I didn't feel much. But the first time I went, we'd already arrived at another world. Wow, we flew over the ocean for such a long time. Anyway, there was a feeling in my heart, feeling we'd gone to a very, very far away place. So we couldn't help but have some emotions of missing our homeland. We were chatting, talking about Tibet. Lama Mumtso, I remember at that time, had a small black tape recorder in her hand, playing some Dharma songs that she had recorded while in Tibet. I think she was probably also thinking about that, even just having a song from our homeland. Felt more intimate. Then as we chatted, I couldn't help but say something. During this trip abroad, I still felt great pressure, afraid of not doing things well, but no matter what, I'm especially grateful for being taken along this time and having this opportunity. As for me personally, whether it's His Holiness or the two of you, your kindness to me is very hard to forget. Aside from the fact that His Holiness has transmitted so many Dharma teachings, Lama Mumtso hadn't transmitted much Dharma at that time yet, starting to transmit Dharma to others from the Sukhavata Dharma assembly onward, roughly like that. When I first came to Larungar, especially during my first winter, 1985, I felt pinched since I barely had enough resources to survive. Life was quite tight. Soon after coming back from Niarong, at that time I remember I was given 50 RMB, and that carried me through the circumstances. At that time I had a little money, but it was stolen by a thief. Then I had no money and everything was very difficult. I was really quite anxious. The 50 RMB at that time was quite a lot, equivalent to who knows how much now, so that I could focus wholeheartedly on my Dharma study and practice. Also, during the New Year, you also gave me nice food. In Footprints on the Journey, I talked about the whole process. I will never forget your kind generosity. I was expressing my gratitude. Annie Medron smiled and said to me, when she addresses His Holiness, she often calls him Jigphun. She wouldn't, like us, say, His Holiness the Precious One. She spoke casually, probably having been used to it since childhood. Jigphun, the shortened form. She said, Jigphun would also help many other disciples, but you are very easygoing and do not decline his help. You don't make excuses every time. She seemed quite satisfied with this. After that, whenever she gave me something, I became even less polite. His Holiness actually helped many disciples. including many I know who had just arrived, including Tulku Tenzin, Khenpo Chaim Rinzin, Khenpo Sherab Zangpo, and Khenpo Norpa. Many of them often received food, mainly food at that time. Unlike you, some disciples decline his generosity with many excuses, referring to Khenpo Tsultrim Lodro. She named him at the time, but I didn't write it when I recorded this. She said, Tsultrim Lodro absolutely refuses to accept pushing back and forth, and that makes us feel embarrassed. Later I told Tsultrim Lodro, I think it was a few years ago or something, I said, Animedron said this about you. He said that when he first arrived, he felt a bit embarrassed and kept declining, but later he also accepted. He said, actually, when you want to give something to someone, if the other person doesn't accept, it's still not very good. It's good when the other person accepts. But at that time, I thought to myself, who is he giving things to? He gives me very little. It was like that at the time. I was the one Animedron praised quite a bit. Every time she gave me something, I would say, good, good, good. Thank you very much. We also talked about many experiences I still remember very clearly. We also talked about when we traveled together in India. Lama Mumtso was not very talkative, but this time she also shared some stories about her childhood, herding goats, and about several of her brothers, Tsedro, Huazo, when they were together in other places before, as well as things about practice. We chatted about various things. What I myself could remember, I recorded it. Okay, that's all for today.
Bandara Bandma Sodargye